Welcome back to the channel, and I didn't quite expect to be putting out another video so soon, but it's been an interesting week in the caravan, motorhome and leisure vehicle industry, and something that raised a few alarm bells for us was the news that the parent company of a number of significant motorhome and caravan dealers across the UK was facing administration. I needed to understand a little bit more about this because I was aware that our local dealer, White Archers, which is based on the edge of Rushden in Nottinghamshire, about 3 years ago had a buyout from an investment company called MBH Holdings, who in effect became a significant shareholder of our local dealer. Well, news over the last 2 or 3 weeks has been that MBH was filing for administration, and I believe the latest update on that is that on the 26th of February the board of MBH did decide to file for administration. So that cast a little bit of doubt over what the future would be for a number of motorhome and caravan dealers nearby. Now it's an interesting space because there is a slight downturn in the sale of caravans. We are seeing that with the number of caravans that are sitting on showroom forecourts, and there is an excess supply of new caravans out there at the moment, which is why we are seeing the resulting discounting that is going on across some of the manufacturers. So what does this mean for dealers like White Archers, and who else has been affected as a result of this? So I've just dropped a slide in for you that shows you the structure of what was MBH and how they had started to enter the leisure sector and had become a middleman, if you like, for investment in White Archers caravans and motorhomes. They'd also sourced the investment for Robinsons Caravans, who were based up in Chesterfield and Worksop, for Golden Castle leisure vehicles, and also for Lincoln leisure vehicles. Now, as a result of this, some statements have been put out this week from some of these dealers. Now, the main one is that White Archers nearby, so they've got a caravan dealership in Rushden and a motorhome dealership in Rushden, is that as a shareholder of the company, they are just seeking somebody to take on an investment in the shareholding of that part of what MBH once held. And their announcement yesterday in the Evening Telegraph in Northampton very clearly stated that business continues as normal for White Archers. They're not reliant on the money from MBH, and this is just about a realignment of their shareholding. Now that has given us some reassurance, as that is one of the bigger players locally, and would be a big loss to the leisure industry if somebody of 46 years in the industry was to disappear. However, it's not been good news for others under the MBH Holdings banner, and very, very sadly it was announced yesterday that Robinsons Caravans is not surviving this. Now Robinsons are based up in Chesterfield and Worksop, and their announcement yesterday revealed that almost with immediate effect administrators have been called in and the Chesterfield site is closing. Now a buyer has been sought for the Worksop site, and that is now going to be rebranded and will be known going forward as Worksop Leisure. So the dealership that was once Robinsons in Worksop does have a future, but very sadly they've not been able to weather the storm in Chesterfield, and people working at that site sadly are going to lose their jobs. With the retention of the Worksop site under its new owners, at least some of the Robinsons crew will be able to move over. But I think this is a very interesting and sad day for the industry, I guess. something that we follow as a hobby more than it's not a career for us, it's not our business. But I just thought an update on this was worthwhile, given that I know this will affect a lot of caravan and leisure vehicle owners. Now, I have popped my specs on to read this next bit for you, really, because I'm just reading one of the statements here that has been put out. So the Robinsons site at Worksop is moving over to a company that in part owns Coupland Caravans, which are based out in Lincolnshire. I think they're on the edge of Louth somewhere. But it does mean that the core of the 9 staff of Robinsons at Worksop will move over as part of the transaction. I think it's clear, though, that it is the mounting pressures in the industry right now. And if you haven't noticed, there is a slight decline in the prices of some used caravans. I'm not saying that the market's falling out. I don't think that is what I'm seeing, but I think there is a re-levelling. And I think where there's a particular oversupply, that is probably having an impact on those companies that haven't got the collateral to weather holding on to lots of stock in a declining market. However, I think it is great that the future of Golden Castle Caravans and Robinsons in Worksop and the White Archers in Northamptonshire have got a future, and I'm grateful that something can come out of this. But it's a very interesting time, and I think this is a space that we might need to watch carefully as the market will level itself. Not easy times out there, guys. It's just an update. If you haven't seen it on social media or read about it in the news, you can just Google MBH Holdings. You can Google these caravan dealers that are affected and get some updates as it goes along. Not great news to share this morning, but just an interesting space in the marketplace. So our next videos will be a couple more reviews coming up for you. We've got another used review on a Laker, and I've taken another look at some new models whilst I was at Pioneer. And then we'll be shortly heading off for our Easter break down to Suffolk. So we look forward to sharing some of our travels down to Aldborough and around the coast of Suffolk. So I'll see you next time. Take care.